Hi guys, so for our very latest MXGP Pro video we're going to be concentrating here on the compound. Now the compound is basically a 1 square kilometre area of forest which was inspired by a real world location. It basically serves as a training tool. Now there is a Supercross and a motocross track as well as a figure 8 track which we'll be checking out in just a moment. I just wanted to showcase the sort of general map. This is free roam, so you can sort of go about at your leisure, and there are some very interesting paths as you can see here. The paths are defined by the dots there on the map as well as the mini map seen on the bottom left of the screen, and it's just a nice challenging area where it's basically you versus the environment, and there's some pretty steep sort of hill climbs thrown in as well, which you probably supposed to be taking one way, like on the downside, but you can actually go up those as well, and it's very tricky, but it does provide a decent challenge. It's just something nice that just provides a different experience from the sort of regular motocross sort of racing action. So it's a very welcome feature, this. Of course, it is a feature we've seen in previous titles. I believe it was DLC actually in Supercross the game, so it's nice to see it back in the sort of main game content. You can see me now just going over the various sort of rough terrain here and falling off the bike, so you will fall off on these steep areas. It's best to sort of hold your rider's weight forward, but it can be very tricky as you can see. You can see here some of the different areas, tricky bits of ground here. Being very cautious with my accelerator. I am using the Pro physics here, so it is particularly challenging just to stay on the bike and avoid those pretty big trees as well. Oh, and there you go. So not quite getting it right there, sort of stuck in between these big mounds of earth. So you know, this area does throw up some interesting sort of geological features and environmental obstacles at you. So it is a bit of fun. Again, just exploring here, having a bit of fun. It's got a lot of potential, this compound area, if they continue to expand upon it. See a different path here. You'll see just in a moment there are some interesting features. There we go. So we've got some tyres there. We've got some sort of steps made out of wood, planks, and some rocks as well to negotiate if you wish. So it's a nice balance of pathing and sort of natural obstacles thrown in, which is a very nice touch. And it just gives it that real sort of open environment feel, that natural feeling, which really fits in with the motocross feel. You can see here, going over the rocks now, and some planks there, or tree trunks rather, to negotiate. So yeah, some nice little sections here, but you have to find them. It's very much a case of free roaming and just discovering these little bits that they've thrown in here and there. So it's nice when you do discover these little areas that you weren't otherwise expecting. This is running on a standard PS4. I've got to say the visuals are particularly impressive. Some very, very nice lighting effects, the sunlight coming through the trees, occasionally blinding you. It does look very nice indeed. Again, just following the path now. Avoiding those trees. Of course, you can go off the paths and go anywhere you like. It's probably best to stick to the pass until you get a bit more experience with the compound. Some really nice foliage as well, some nice flowers and shrubbery and bits and pieces. It all comes together nicely to really give you that sense of being outdoors in a nice beautiful environment. Certainly as an environment that Milestone have really put a lot of love and care into. It really does look like that. They've spent a good amount of time here perfecting the environment and all the various obstacles and stuff. And it has got a lot of room to go in terms of making it really special. But as long as they keep expanding upon it, it could become a real sort of selling point for the title in the future. Again, you can see the nice sunlight effects. It's a bit more of an open area here, sort of laying the hammer down a bit more. So there are some sort of high-speed sections as well as the more tight and technical stuff. Of course, you don't have to stick to the paths. Of course, you can go anywhere you like. So it's nice just to sort of open the throttle, but not to do that. Really nice effects again. You know, the trees are different from one another. There's some nice variation in the trees. You know, they're even leaning in different directions. It all looks very nice. Okay, so we're going to be checking out the motocross track first. Now you can see here you have these painted sections. You can have a Grand Prix or a time attack session. Let's go though for the Grand Prix for this particular track.
Last few moments before the gates go down. Who will face the first bend head on?
So it's interesting they've actually gone with the full race intros if it was an official race, which is a little bit odd, but I suppose it's better there than not. You can see just how lush the environments are, the foliage, the trees, looking very nice indeed. So this is on, and wow, lots of action straight away on the first lap. A few riders running wide. This is on Pro Physics and against hard AI, and I don't know this track very well, so this is going to be pretty tough to say the least. So running a little bit wide there, you can see the water filling the ruts, and the ground deformation in general is absolutely fantastic. Of course there is room for improvement. We want to see deeper ruts, we want to ride those ruts of course, but compared to the last say 2 games, wow, look at that, riders coming off their bikes. Yeah, the ground deformation certainly has seen a massive leap forward here, so the future is very exciting, I would say, for MXGP fans. This certainly is a big step up, and perhaps just gives us a glimpse of what we can expect in the future, particularly for the next generation. Lovely lighting effects again. I keep saying it, but it's just so nice, the environment there, big jump there over the river stream. And it's nice the way they've incorporated that sort of environmental feature into the track itself. It really does feel like you're in a, you know, an outdoor environment that's among the sort of geological features and such. So it's really nicely done across a bridge here again. You can see the frame rate slightly taking a fairly big hit there. Not always the case with this. It is, sometimes it's alright, sometimes there is a bit of dip in here and there. But overall I find it to be, you know, reasonably okay, the frame rate, but I would like to see some improvements, perhaps a patch or two in the future will do that. Now we've just come off the bike there. This is the Pro Physics, so it is very unforgiving. But we rejoin in 12th position of 22 runners. We will be checking out the Supercross track in just a few moments time as well. Again, a big jump there, slightly, a bit of contact as well. But we did under jump that turn. Again, the frame rate just taking a little dip here and there. I guess it's the crashes don't help. So moving up into 10th place then. And I was surprised just how well this track flowed. Really, really interesting visually, and has a nice satisfying flow to it as well. So it really was an enjoyable track, and certainly one that I will be spending more time with just to learn the various nuances to it. Tight turn this. It's a sort of U-bend section downhill now. So it's very easy to run wide on the throttle. Oh, getting away with that just about into a really tight right. Again, perhaps braking a little bit too late there across the finish line, so that was a full lap. And we're going to do one more lap as well, just to showcase the track further. And then we'll move on. Slight bit of contact there. It's nice that you have this variation tree. So often you find with racing games, I guess games in general, that they repeat the same trees over and over. Here, although the trees are very similar in style, there is that, you know, different angles and different branches, and just little things like that, little details like that make all the difference for me in terms of trying to replicate a real world environment. It really does add so much to the experience. So it's clear that they've put in a lot of time with this environment. Okay, so making our way through here into 15th. Again, a frame rate stutter there, so there are some issues with this track here and there. Again, that big jump, have a nice look back there. So they will need to iron out these frame drops. This is on the standard PlayStation 4, I might point out. All running wide, just avoiding the tree there. We come off the throttle and sort of hang on for dear life. If you turn too hard, of course, you know, with or without the throttle, you're asking for trouble. So I got away with that there. Getting this tight left-hander. So really nice details, really nice fun and flowing track. Pleasantly surprised so far with the compound, and it certainly lays down some good groundwork for future developments to bring it into a more substantial package. It is a bit light on content, MXGP Pro, so it's good that they have a compound here that's really fun to play. And hopefully we'll see bigger compounds in the future where they can expand upon the features they have here. Okay, this long sweeping right hander and into this jump, leaning back, preparing for his left hander, trying to turn on the inside there, a bit of contact though, almost throwing me off the bike. This is on the Pro Physics course where it is very demanding, very challenging just to stay on the bike for the most part. Just tapping the throttle around there. We're going to come across the finish line, so that was a quick look, a couple of laps of the motocross track, and we're going to move on now. Okay, so before we go to the Supercross track, I just want to quickly show you the figure 8 track. Very small, little cheeky track here you just see now, but it's a nice sort of training aid. I find this was the very first thing I did when I got onto MXGP Pro, was get on this figure 8 track and just to get to grips with the new physics and the handling of the bikes. It really sort of showcases the detail in the physics. It is very easy to come out of the 8s as well, so it does take a bit of practice. But you can see the bike making the ruts there. Look at that, wow, pretty deep stuff. You can see the sort of bike sliding down the bank surfaces, and you can certainly see the depth of the physics, and that rear wheel especially sort of really sliding out. You've really got to be careful. This is very challenging as well, just to stay in the 8, particularly in the crossover part there. Very challenging indeed, but it does give you a good idea of the handling of the bikes and the improvements that have been made in MXGP Pro, so it's worth getting on here just to have a little play around, so you can see the difference compared to MXGP 3 for yourselves. Okay, so we're now heading on to the Supercross track, and once again you have the race session or a time session. We went for the race before, so let's go for a time attack this time around. Okay, so here is the Supercross track now. In my opinion, the Supercross track is not quite as good as the motocross track. There are no sort of environmental details that sort of are interwoven with the track. You know, we saw the river jump on the motocross track, and also the bridge as well. Here is much smaller circuits, and there's none of that environment that sort of encroaches, if you like, on the track, which is a shame. So it's not as interesting. And you know, it's almost bland actually compared to the motocross track, so it is a bit disappointing. But I guess because it's not a Supercross game, it's something they've just sort of thrown in here for a bit of fun. Still a challenge though, learning the jumps. So in terms of falling off your bike in a pro setting, you know, it certainly is probably more challenging than the motocross track, because there are some jumps, if you get wrong, if you over jump, if you under jump, you're sort of asking for trouble. Like there we go, good example. We're going to be doing a couple of laps here just to show you the track, and once again we get up to the latter stages here. So technical section here into this tight left hander brings us back onto the start finish straight. Getting some nice draw distances. You can hear the birds tweeting in the background as well, which is good to hear. They really have captured this environment very well, I'd say. Certainly gives you a nice glimpse of the future of a possible compound, how far they can push this compound. You know, I can imagine large areas in the future, even more detail, even more options, even more things to play with. They can really go all out on this and make some really fun modes that sort of just gives you a nice contrast to the more serious, officially licensed race stuff. So it's nice to have a sort of mix, just to sort of let your hair down in between races. And of course it does serve as a good training aid as well. There are training sessions which are actually based here at the compound, but that is very much a separate mode. So just learning the jumps as I go then. Getting better, as you can see. But anyway, we're going to leave it there for a look at the compound. Do let us know in the comments if you are playing the game, or if you are interested in buying the game. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, that's it for now for MXGP. We'll have more coming up on the title soon. Thanks for watching.